OK, it's got to be in one sentence. Is your new gov off to a good start?
Is off to a stellar start. On day two, as you were just saying, you've got a cap on bus fares to £2. On day one, he cut taxes on electricity bills. These are directly the things that he's hearing from members of parliament, and we are hearing from our constituents.
And the reason I asked you for one sentence, and thank you for playing ball, Tom, is because I did want to ask you a bit more about whether or not these tiny adjustments will actually make a difference. We heard from lots of listeners yesterday saying, yeah, OK, great, thanks. But, I mean, 45 quid over the course of a year. OK, great, thanks. But £1 off a bus fare. I mean, is it really going to make any difference to people? Their skin.
I start with where your listeners are, which is to question two. Is it going to make a difference? People are really struggling, partly because of a cost of living crisis we've had for a while now, but that's been made a lot worse by the Iran attacks by America. It needs to make a difference. On the electricity bills coming down, I think £45 is something not to be sniffed at. I think when you add it to £150 that was already brought in, and for the most vulnerable houses, a further £150, that particularly makes a big difference. And then when we think about bus travel, honestly, I could not tell you the number of colleges and schools I've gone into where young people have said to me, the number one thing stopping me from getting my first job is being able to afford the bus travel to and from my house. It will make a revolutionary difference, not just in giving younger people those first jobs, but building that pattern of work as a result.
Thank you for joining us today. You know, one of the things that you've mentioned there about young people is definitely something we know that is a kind of real commitment of Andy Burnham in his role as Mayor of Manchester, and he's talked extensively about it on the lead up to him becoming Prime Minister. But the other thing is all of the stuff that's going on that we can't control. You mentioned it there, the war in Iran. I mean, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There's so many things that we can't control. Starmer, his predecessor, was criticised for, being never hear Keir. Is Andy concentrating enough on what's going on elsewhere?
Well, he's 2 days into the job, and we've just seen a cap on bus fares to £2 that will unlock opportunities, particularly for young people, and a cut on the taxes and electricity bills. I think that's a good start. I think the point that you're making about domestic and international politics being linked like never before is critically important, and that's why the government have been and will be cracking on with investing more in clean energy. When we've got more clean energy and it's homegrown, we make ourselves less vulnerable to the price shocks abroad caused by things like conflict, and as a result we can keep our energy bills more constant. You're going to see the Prime Minister focusing on domestic issues with a strong cabinet that can represent him to foreign capitals too.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.